Hello, I'm Margaret and this is Mag's Sing Along. Today I'm going to talk about how to stop your voice from cracking when you sing. So what is cracking? Well, the most popular example I can give you of cracking is when a boy goes through puberty. You will hear him talking here and then suddenly his voice cracks in and then you'll hear this weird cracking sound, or he'll be up here and then suddenly it goes into chest. It sounds like there's like a weird switch that happens and they get embarrassed because it feels really uncomfortable and it sounds strange. And this is probably something that almost every singer has experienced as well when they're singing. And it's because we all have natural breaks in our voice. About every octave, there's a break, a registration switch needs to happen. And it's just the way that we're built. Now, what's actually physically happening is inside of our larynx, where the vocal folds are, there are two specific muscles that are in charge of how the vocal folds vibrate. Either they vibrate really wide and thick like this, or they vibrate really stretched out and thin. Both of these muscles are in charge of how the vocal folds vibrate. Now, they're antagonistic muscles, which means one is always more dominant than the other. So sometimes when we sing around that pitch area where our natural break is, the muscles might not know who's in charge, either because of a certain vowel we're singing that triggers it, or one muscle is stronger than the other, or we might be giving it too much air pressure. It's hard to say sometimes, but at that moment, you might experience a cracking because neither muscle is in charge for that moment, and so the vocal folds don't vibrate. And you might even feel a switch happens. If you keep singing through the crack, it'll switch into another voice, either head voice into chest or chest into head. And it's actually kind of like yodeling. Yodeling is controlled cracking. Oh! You heard that little crack sound? I controlled it to switch. Usually we don't want it to crack, so I'm going to give you some tips on how to avoid it. So the best way to get rid of cracking is what I call smoothing out the brake. It's kind of like if you're driving stick shift manual in a car and you are trying to switch into a higher gear. So you have to put your foot down on the clutch pedal, and if you do it too fast, your car will stall. And that's what happens in our voice. You have to smoothly put your foot down on the pedal and increase your RPM and your gas so that it switches into that higher gear really smooth. I find that very difficult when I drive a car, but it's not too hard when you're learning how to sing. So smoothing out the brake has two stages to it. One, you have to get both of those muscles in your larynx balanced in strength. You want them both to be strong. That means you need to exercise chest voice and you need to exercise head voice. After that's done, you want to try to exercise your head voice in a lower range where chest voice goes, and have chest voice go up into a higher range where head voice goes, so that there is a overlapping in pitch, so that both muscles know how to be in charge at a similar pitch range. Usually our talking voice is about that octave where you want to have an overlap. So I would basically do exercises in chest like this. Gla, 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 and just work my way up a little bit. And then afterwards I would do head voice down. And there's that overlapping. Those are in the same pitch range, but I'm switching gears on purpose. Now, once that overlapping has happened, the next step is slides. You're going to do some slides, and it's not like a water slide. You're going to teach your muscles to switch very slowly, pitch-wise. So the first one to start with is NG slides. So if you say the word song, song. That sound I'm making sounds like a hum, except my mouth is open. And the back of my tongue is making that NG consonant. So it's completely blocking sound from exiting through my mouth. It's only exiting through my nose. And you just want to slide from head voice into chest and chest voice into head and then back down. And you just want to exercise that switching for your muscles. So it goes like this. And I didn't have any cracking this time, but if you feel like it's cracking, or if you hear and notice it, it might sound like this. Or it's okay. That's where your break is. And you want to anticipate where you're going to switch and slow down your slide and increase your air exhale. Kind of like putting your foot slowly down on the clutch of your manual car, but increasing the gas. And that'll help smooth out that transition. You have to be patient and take it slow and do it a few times, because sometimes after a few times it gets easier for your muscles. So again, it's like this. I slowed down right around my break so that my muscles can easily transition dominance. Now, after that gets easier, give yourself, a few weeks or a month, depending on how bad your crack is. Once that's easier, you can try to do it on a natural open mouth vowel sound. I prefer meows because they're low pressure on your vocal folds. So you can do meow. Hear me switch into chest, or you can go the other way. Meow. And you're just trying to make it not crack. Now if it cracks like this, meow, that's okay. Try to take it slower right before you switch into chest. Same the other direction. Meow. You went too fast probably. Take it slow. Meow. Like that. And just after a while, you might notice in your songs it's less, surprising. And you can start to anticipate where your natural break is in songs and have a better strategy around that area. And just some quick tips on how to smooth out that transition in your voice. Singing more on your nose really, really helps. There's this huge cavity of space right here called your nasal cavity, and it actually, if you get the sound to travel into there, it reduces pressure on your vocal folds. It's like back pressure. So if you meow, if you let that meow go into your nose, you might find it a lot easier. If it's not in the nose, meow, it might be a little harder. So experiment with that. It's kind of fun to play with nasal resonance. The other tip is your breath support, this other part of your body. You want to make sure that you've got your diaphragm engaged and you've got your rib cage open, so that, again, you don't have this pressing because you're not supporting your voice with your air support system down here. So you want to make sure that you keep your torso really opened as you're trying to switch through your break. Again, find a voice teacher in your area if that doesn't make any sense, or watch some more videos online. I think there's a lot of videos on how to do that. And that's it. I'm Margaret, and this was Mag's Sing Along. You can join me almost every month with tips on singing.